Welcome back to my channel Whiteboard E-Learning. Dear student, today we'll talk about these subtopics: measurement of time, activity, that is time period of a simple pendulum. Number 3, measuring speed, and finally the unit of time and speed. So it is under the chapter number 13, motion and time. So first of all, we'll focus on the measurement of time. Generally, in the ancient people, from the ancient era, the people has taken to measure the time a particular event, that is natural event. If we want to give the instance, then it will be, suppose, one sunrise to next sunrise. So that can be taken as, that was taken as the day, one day. 1 month, the one new moon to next new moon, it can be treated as the month. It is actually known as the lunar month. So actually what we are taking, so each and every, if we want to measure the time, then we are just taking a periodic event. These are the periodic event. Each and every time, after an interval of time, it will come back to the same point. Okay, sun rises, after 24 hours again sun rises in the east. So this is a periodic motion. This is a periodic event. If we want to measure year, then we have taken the earth revolves around the sun, and that is 365 days. So 365 days will be an year, and it is periodic event. So such type of event we have taken to measure the time. But if you want to measure very small interval of time, like second, second is normally we know a small interval of time, but less than that will be possible. So now how to measure 1 second? So that's why we have made some instrument. I have told you, in this instrument we have just adopted the same basic principle. What is the basic principle? In this instrument we have added some periodic event that is not natural, but some periodic event we have just added here. What is that? That is pendulum. You have seen in the ancient clocks, wall clock, you have seen it has some pendulum. Why pendulum is fitted with that? Because it will measure the time. I will tell you that thing on the activity time period of a simple pendulum. And now actually the total process of making a clock is very complex. It contains so many parts. But the main theme, the basic principle is that it will just follow a periodic event. You have seen quartz clock. In your home, probably there will be one quartz clock. It is written quartz clock. Okay. So in the quartz clock, what is quartz? Quartz is a crystal. So this crystal, when the battery is fed to the crystal, power is given to the crystal, it is connected with the cell, then it will vibrate. Okay. So this vibration will be taken as periodic motion. So this periodic motion is fed into some complex circuits, and then it will measure seconds, and that we call the wall clock. Nowadays what we are using in our school, in our everyday house, in our everyday home, that is known as the quartz clock. So quartz is a crystal, so that will vibrate. So main principle is that we have to take an event that is periodic. Okay, so that is measurement of time. In this way we have counted time, we have measured time. And nowadays the smaller than a second can be also measured, and that can be known as the microsecond, nanosecond. Microsecond is the 1 millionth of a second, and nanosecond is the 1 billionth of a second. So that can be also, nowadays we can just measure. So think about the technology. Now activity. So activity, that's why first of all we have to talk about simple pendulum. Simple pendulum. Okay, what is simple pendulum? So generally in the simple pendulum some parts are there. This is the suspension, This is a inextensible thread, and this is known as the bob. Okay, this is the suspension. This is known as suspension. That is support, from where it was hanged. It was hanged. Now, if you just pull this bob towards this, then it will swing. Okay, this type of motion is known as the periodic motion. And this type of thing, what we have constructed here, this is nothing but a simple pendulum. But simple pendulum has some characteristics. What is the characteristics? This bob is made up of some materials, but generally we have to take this will be massless. Bob is massless. Okay, but you know, if it is constructed with some materials, it must have some masses. It must have some mass. But we have to consider, ideal conception is that the simple pendulum the bob will be massless, and the string what we have used here, that is inextensible. That means it cannot be extended or contracted. So that can be the ideal situation for making a simple pendulum. Now, and when it will vibrate, suppose it will come to the left extreme like that, and again it will be suppose here. So this will make an angle with the vertical section. So this is vertical, suppose vertical line. So it will make 4 degrees. So if it makes maximum 4 degrees angle with the vertical line, then we can consider the motion is simple pendulum. Otherwise it will be not simple pendulum. But it is not in your class. It is in the class 11 we have read about. But you keep in your mind, if it exceeds 5 degree, or if it exceeds, suppose 4 degree goes to 5 degree, then we cannot consider that is a simple pendulum. So when we will execute the activity, time period of a simple pendulum, we must not swing the bob more than 4 degree. If it goes more than 4 degree, then it will be a complex pendulum. It will not be a simple pendulum. Okay, so these are the simple pendulums criteria. Keeping this criteria in your mind, we are just doing some activity. Okay, stay tuned and watch the video sincerely. This is suspension, bob, and you know bob will be point mass and massless, point mass. Okay, now suppose this is, so this is known as the left extreme. This will be right extreme. Okay, and this is known as this point when the bob is the rest condition, when no force has been applied on the bob, it will maintain some position that is known as the mean position. Okay, this is known as the mean position. And if it goes maximum at this point, when it will swing, it will goes to right, then again come to left, then go again goes to right. So this is right extreme, this is left extreme. Okay, so it will take some time. Suppose we have sent the bob from this position. So suppose this position is suppose A, this is B, and this is C. So it will go to C via B. Again it will come back from C to A via B. Okay, so this time period. So what is time period? There is a important term about the simple pendulum, that is a time period. What is time period? That is, it is denoted by capital T. Time taken to complete one oscillation. What is one oscillation? If it starts journey from A, goes to the other extreme and come back to the same point, that is known as the one oscillation. So time taken to complete one oscillation by a simple pendulum bob is known as the time period. Okay, so in this activity we have, suppose for this activity what we have to do, one bob in our lab, in our physics lab, there is a bob, there is some thread are available in your home also, and there is a suspension, there is a some arrangement are there, from here we have to hang the bob with the help of a thread. Then, and one thing we have to add with this, that is the stopwatch, by which we can measure the time, that is time period here, how much time it will take to complete one oscillation, we have to take that. So for that one, you know, table is needed. I'm just writing here table here, one table. What is the table? Number of observation 1, 2, 3, and time taken to complete 20 oscillation, and time period, that is capital T. Okay, so 1, this is 2, this is 3. Now suppose we are just executing this activity. So first we have taken the bob, just touch the bob and pull the bob from the mean position, then release the bob from here. So if you release the bob, then it will progress to the right extreme slowly via mean position, and in this way it will swing. So after some few seconds, when it come back to the same position, that is A position, you just start counting the time by stopwatch. You have a stopwatch. Stopwatch is a special type of watch by which you can just measure time interval. So it can be switched on, it can be switched off according to your wish. So now when it will come to the A point, after some vibrations, after some oscillations, you have to just wait. Next it will come to A position, and then you have to switch on the stopwatch, and then it will come back to go to C, then come back to A. So this is one oscillations. So in this way you have to count 20 oscillations. You have seen how many oscillations we have taken? 20 oscillations. So again, go to C, then A, one oscillation, then C to A, two oscillations, then C to A, third oscillation. Again in this way 20 oscillations you have to measure. Suppose after 20 oscillation, time taken to complete 20 oscillations, you have seen the total time that was measured by your stopwatch, that is 42 seconds. Suppose, okay, we have written. Again, the second set of data we have to take. Suppose we have just grouped our student into 3 groups. First group, they have executed the activity, they have found out the time taken to complete 20 oscillations, 42 seconds. The second group will come later and they will execute the experiment. After that, suppose they have found out 40 seconds. It can be varied because some errors will be there, some manual errors will be there. So depending on the situation, depending on the manual, depends on it, the error depends on instrument, the error depends on human also. So counting all these errors, this second, oscillation second will be changed. Now it will come out as 40 seconds. That means again they have executed the experiment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we are counting the time. So after 20 oscillations, again we have counted, that is 40 seconds. Now the third set of student, third group, they will execute the experiment, and now suppose it is 38 seconds. Okay, suppose. So 42 seconds means, so time period, what is the time period? Time period is nothing but to complete 1 oscillations. But how many oscillations we have taken? 20. So what is the time period here? 42 by 20. If we want to find out the time period, then 20 oscillations we have taken. So now we have to find out for one oscillations how much time it was taken. So now 42 by 20, it will come out as 2.1 second, is not it? Now for 40 second, 20, so 2 second, 2.0 second. Now for 38 second, if we just divide 38, it will be 1.9 second. So just add it up, it will give you 6 and divided by 3, so it will be, because 3 sets of data we have taken, so now 6 by 3, 2 second. So what is the time period? 2 second. That means it will, if it starts from journey from A, go to the other extreme and come back to the same point, it will just take 2 seconds. So this is a time period. So just applying this sense, so why it is essential, why it is necessary in this segment? It is necessary for that by measuring the time period, we have made watches, we have made wall clocks. Same thing has been applied there. There is a pendulum, pendulum will do the same thing. Here we have taken one simple pendulum, so there also they have used, the company has used some pendulum, so that is just measure some time like that. So that is used for the measurement of time. I think you have understood the matter. So this is the activity, how we have used the time. And nowadays this time is not measured in this way. Pendulum clock is now not available so much, but you know, in that place some refinements has been done, you know, some technological progress has been done. So in this place we have used some, you know, circuit, digital watches. These are the analog watches. The pendulum watch is a analog. Now we have used our technology and we have converted this, actually the basic principle is same, but our technology has been you know, improved. Now we'll go to the measuring speed. Suppose for measuring speed, we have on the floor, you have to take on chalk. On the floor by chalk, you have to just draw a line, what I have drawn on the whiteboard. Now you have to take one ball, okay, and you have thrown the ball gently so that the motion will be uniform motion. If you push the ball with a very hard force, then probably it will be not uniform motion. So to maintain uniform motion, just push the ball gently. So if you push the ball gently, suppose we have placed the ball here, and if you push the ball, then the ball will move in that direction, okay, and when it will come this point, when the ball just want to cross the line, then you have switched on your stopwatch. You have taken on stopwatch here also, stopwatch, or your Android phone's watch, whatever may be. A stopwatch is also available in your Android phone. Now you have started the stopwatch, and when it will come to rest, it will come to rest after some time, then you have switch off the stopwatch. Then probably you have taken the time. So time taken, suppose 10 second time has been taken by the ball to cross the line and finally reach to the point where the velocity, where the speed is 0, okay. So it will take some time. That time we have counted 10 seconds, and we can measure the length by some measuring tape. Suppose it is 20 meter. So distance we have measured by measuring tape, that is 20 meter. Now what is speed? Previous day I have told you speed is nothing but distance covered by time taken. So here distance is 20 meter and time we have taken, suppose 10 seconds, then it will be 2 meter per second, okay. So this is this way we can find out, we can measure the speed. Now finally the fourth point, that is unit of time and speed. You know, unit of time Unit of time, our age is measured in years. If we measure our age by minutes or seconds, that will be a huge number. So what will be convenient to you? That type of unit you have to choose. It depends on the factors. Suppose distance. What will be the distance unit? If we measure the distance from Kolkata to Delhi, then kilometer will be the convenient unit. If we want to measure a length of a ant, size of a ant, then it will be millimeter, centimeter scale will be sufficient. So different type of units will be there to measure the different distances. If the distance is bigger, suppose the distance in between the sun and the earth, the distance in between the interstellar bodies, then it will be measured some other units, not probably in kilometer, that will be in parsec or light year. Okay, so different units must be applied for according to our convenient to make the things easier. So here some method in our NCERT book throughout the year we will use SI system. What is SI system? SI is known as the System D International. So suppose we are measuring something here, that will be measured in Afghanistan, that will be measured in Britain, that will be measured in other different countries. If they uses different of unit, then it will be very difficult to understand. If we give one example, suppose in our country we are always keeping the left side of the road, okay, and drivers always sits in the right side of the car, but it is not actually maintained in other countries. So if we go other country and want to drive any car, then it will be very difficult to drive the car. So that's why if it will be universally accepted and if it will be universally equal, then it will be very good to understand and it will be easy to understand. So that's why for whole the world, all the countries, they have decided, okay, so simple and single units we will use, and for distance we will use meter, and for time we will use second. So in SI system we will use speeds unit as meter per second, okay, not kilometer per hour. Kilometer per hour is also correct, but we will not use in SI system. So if we do any numerical problem in this segment or throughout the year, any numerical problem or in this chapter or other chapter, always use SI system. In SI system, mass is taken as kg, length is taken in meter, and time is taken, the time units is taken as second. Thank you for watching my video. If you think video is helpful to you, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel for next upcoming videos. Thank you.